Hello everyone, welcome to A Little Bit Gorgeous. I'm Jennifer. This morning I wanted to show you how I make one of the ephemera pieces that I quite often put in journals, and that's these little houses. They just are a pocket. There's an opening on the side there that you can put some ephemera in, and if you choose you can also make a pocket like a little uptuck on the back there. So that's what we're going to do this morning. They're quite simple. They really don't need very much in the way of materials. You just need a piece of paper. I use A4 paper and I have just cut a piece across the top of the paper. When I print, I don't print borderless, so I do still have the border around those sides there, and I don't need to take that off because that's not going to be visible anyway. I also print double-sided, but really there's not very much that you can see of the backing, so you certainly don't need to have double-sided paper if you don't want to. And then you need a piece for the roof. So the height of your project is going to be a little bit more than the height of the paper. So just adjust it according to whatever you're going to do with your little house. If you're going to put it in a journal, you don't want to make it any wider than that there, so the rest may need to be scaled accordingly. So one piece for the base, one piece for the roof. If you want to fold it over in half, if whatever you have there doesn't work with folding it over in half, then two pieces the same size that you can just join at the top would work just as well. I quite like to have patterned paper and some sort of text just as a bit of contrast, and then perhaps something different that's on the back there that coordinates, but you can use whatever you want. These papers here are from Sweet Pea Curiosities. That's their ticking set, and this is one of the Wallpaper sample pieces, I think. I'm not sure of the name of that kit there. And then you'll also need something, and I tend to use labels, for your doors and your windows and your chimney. So I've got some little labels in there, and they're also from Sweet Pea Curiosities, so I'll use those. And then some trim, something to make it pretty. So let's get going. So this piece of paper for the base, fold it over in half. And at this point here, you might want to think about that finished width. This piece of paper here is, I think it's about 5 inches. Where are we? Let's go that way. 5-ish. And I think that's about 4 inches, that height there. So if your finished width needs to be less, then you may need to make this bit a little bit less too, just so it fits. So fold it over in half. To reinforce those edges where the tuck is on the side, I'm going to fold them in. So if I score, perhaps if I score 1 centimetre, got it, on that side and on that side. I'm using paper, not cardstock, and the paper that I use is 120 GSM, which I use for pretty much everything. And that's about 1.5 times the weight of standard copy paper. If this wasn't going in a journal, if you're going to do something else with it, then maybe you might want to make it a little bit heavier. But I'm always mindful that if it's going in a journal, it can't be too thick. Goodness only knows that there's enough stuff that we put in our journals anyway. without having to account for extra bulk that you don't need to. So I tend to use paper. And then just to make this a pocket, glue it across the top and the bottom. The top is going to be hidden within the roof, but I will ink the bottom. Just so I don't have the white edges showing. Now, I just need to decide, do I want it to be on that side or do I want it to be on that side? I might have it on the right hand side. This first one that I made, because I wanted to incorporate that little bit of pattern there, I didn't want that to be on the back, so I made my opening on the left, but really doesn't matter. So now we need to stick the roof on. Once again, be mindful of the height that your project needs to be. You don't want it to be too tall to fit in your journal. This I already know is about the size that I want my roof to be, so I'm just going to fold that over in half. So my roof will sit on like that. So maybe at about that height there, so because I've never actually lived in a two-story house, and my version of a two-story house has a roof like that, that's the way I cut my roof. So I want to angle the sides so it will come out to the full width of the roof there, but I want it to go up to about that point there, so just whatever feels right. So if I cut that little bit off, and then if I use that to mark the other side, I know they'll be the same. So my roof is going to sit over the top like that there. Now, you could, if you wanted, have an uptuck on the front. I've chosen just to put one on the back, and I think I'll do the same here, but it could be either way. But because in my case, I'm going to put it, actually, before I do that, just ink those edges. Take the teeniest bit so I'm going to glue the front down. try to sort of center it. Flip it over. I want my tuck to be up there, so that's not going to be glued, but the sides will be. I've still got my up tuck there, but it's sealed on the bottom. So then you just need to decide on your doors and windows. So I quite like a longer label, and I usually use labels rather than other bits and pieces. One for the door. I want a chimney. I might use those tabs for the chimney since they're pretty much the same width. Whatever, maybe like that. Actually, I think I like that one better. And this one, I don't want the top of that tab, so I'm just going to cut that off. My sponge is disintegrating. Where's my door? Go that way, that way, that way. Oops. Get up, get up, get up. What was the other one? What was the other one? That one? No, not yet. I want my chimney to be double-sided. So I want one on the front and one on the back. So just at the moment, I'll glue them at the top. I'm going to cut that off because I don't want the tab top, but I'll put it on there for now. So my chimney is really just hinged at the moment. And because it's just the teensiest bit wider on one side, the best side. That side, that side, that side. So we've built our house. Now we need to get the decorators in. That's cute. All right, so that much. I think that's the right side. Oh, I want pink. No, I will have blue. So that just needs to dry. So there we go. Oh, where's the opening? There's the opening. So tuck spot on the right hand side, a little pocket, turn it over, and there's another one on the back there. No reason why you couldn't decorate the back if you wanted to. Depending on where you're using it, paper clip it on the side or paper clip it on the top. Kind of makes a cute little tab off the edge there. So that's it. So it's quite easy. Just 2 pieces of paper. Fold one for the pocket, fold one for the roof. Done. See you later.